Hey, welcome to another episode of Three Conservative Gimps, where we talk about everything political under the sun, from dog catcher all the way up to, national and international, state, local, all that jazz. Yeah, we talk about it all so you can make an informed decision at the ballot box. All right, let's get this show on the road. We are down to just two gimps tonight. Lloyd couldn't make it tonight. His son just had neck surgery yesterday, and so he's really tired. He's been at the hospital all day. So, oh hey, it looks like we got somebody special tonight. Let's go ahead and bring in Charles, all the way from the blue state of New York. Welcome, Charles.
Hello,
Yep.
everybody in the chat. Hello
How's
to whoever is special that Art is referring to.
yeah? We'll bring him in a second. So how's the weather there?
Oh, today was beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Well above 70, slight breeze, sunny, beautiful.
Oh, all right. Well, we were in the 60s today, and tomorrow we're gonna plunge into the 40s tomorrow with a chance of rain. Yeah. All right. So let's welcome, with all the pomp and circumstances, the man of the hour, the guy that helped out with the South Florida drone meetup. Let's welcome Bill Ronayne, Uncle Bill. Welcome,
Hey, Bill.
welcome. Howdy, howdy.
I don't
Duty,
know how
duty.
special I am. Special education special? Is
Special ed.
I'm
So,
special.
Bill, now you're married to a Filipina. You're probably going to be, this might
Yeah, I
be
think so.
interesting.
Honey, you're Filipino, right? She's ignoring me. She's
Filipina.
ignoring me. She's a woman. So. What about it?
Well, two candidates for Pope are from the Philippines.
Two candidates.
Yeah.
What?
Yep.
What?
There are two candidates from the Philippines that could become Pope.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, so they are. One is Cardinal Luis Antonio Tegle or Tegle, and he is he's from the Philippines. It doesn't say where in the Philippines. The other one is Pablo Virgilio Cianco David, also from the Philippines.
Just rolls
So,
right off your tongue, doesn't it?
yeah, it does.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Some of those Philippine word names flow pretty good, and then some just like there's too many. Well, not sentences, but
Syllables.
syllables. Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. So I thought it was and there's one candidate from Japan. So Asia
That
is
would be
well
wild.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
I don't care. It's what's in their heart that matters. It doesn't matter what race they're from.
Right. Bill, your mic is a tad bit soft. Could
Good.
you
I got nothing to
either
say
move the
anyway.
mic closer to you or up the volume slightly?
Okay. Whatever you say.
All right, we got a good group already. We've got Brian, Waypoint, New England, TJ Giggles. We
I
got
don't know. I don't know why
Dominic.
that does. I don't know why that does that. How about that?
Now you're a little overdriven.
You're just so fussy.
There you go. Now that's perfect. We got Dominic Papa Sergio. Boy, he sounds like he could be a candidate for Pope.
Yeah.
We got Charles Gillespie. We got Ronnie. God bless America. And who else? That is about it. We got a lot of people watching. That is good. So, the main topic we're going to start off with is I gotta do the special effects.
Why
Dark
the
woke. Yeah.
That's what we're
So
talking about? Dark woke?
dark woke. They just don't want to be plain old woke. They want to be dark wolf. Dark wolf with all the expletives and F bombs they could drop. Yeah, that'll win them over. Yeah. What say you, Bill?
I think it's all baloney. They're just trying to be like regular folks and talk like regular folks. And all they're doing is insulting our intelligence because they're just a caricature of regular folks. They're not regular folks. You're not supposed to be a regular folk. You're supposed to be our fucking excuse me. That was
Yeah.
regular. You're supposed to be our representative. I want the best and the brightest doing the job for me, not someone who wants to make believe he's standing on a street corner talking to his homies. It's insulting, it's embarrassing, and they should be ashamed of themselves. Seriously, and it's all performative lack of leadership, and that's
Right.
why some dim bulb like AOC can jump to the top of the party, because
Right.
she actually has the ability to speak, and although she says a lot of stupid shit too, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what to make of these guys. I think they're all nuts. I do. I
Yeah.
don't even know why we discussed it after a while. So I didn't almost didn't come on because I'm kind of tired of it. I just think it's pretty obvious. I mean, we're just going to sit here and talk about things like that, dark woke, who cares? Or, going down to South American countries and begging them to send back the criminals. What is the point of, and stay home and do your job? How about that?
Right. Right.
Stay home and you don't like what the president's doing? Come up with some suggestions. Come up with some legislature. Come up with some leadership. Not not just looking for anything that looks like it may be a mistake, maybe, which I don't think it was, to tell you the truth. But
Right.
who cares? Who cares? What's the difference?
I-
And jump on it and just all coalesce around that and make a complete ass out of you and us, for that matter. Taxpayer money sending these guys to go chase down an MS-13 member. And I'm not afraid to say he was an MS-13 member. You know why? Because two courts in a liberal state said he was MS-13.
Right.
So if they think he is, you're pretty damn sure he is. And the only reason they didn't send him back is because they had to stay on his removal to El Salvador because there were of the fear of rival gangs knocking him off. I'm sorry. I went from dark woke over to this, but this is
Yeah.
all kind of part of the same thing, because it's
Right.
all performative. It's baloney, and that's not a problem anymore. That gang doesn't, that rival gang. And by the way, if you're not MS-13, then why are you worried about rival gangs? That means you're a gang member. That gang doesn't exist in that country anymore. And then all this said he's being it's tortured. No, they're not. They showed him meeting with the guy having lunch. Nobody's being tortured. They're being confined. Oh, he wasn't supposed to go back there. He should have never went back to his own country. Yeah, he should. Yeah, he should. That country's already been made safer than most, and you never came here legally.
Yeah.
And while you were trying, you were transporting illegals. You were beating your wife. He's not the finest example.
Right.
And here's somebody. Don't get me. I'm tired of being called we're racist because we don't want these guys here. I don't care what effing country he's from. He's a gang member, which makes him a criminal. And it doesn't matter. When you're trying to prove why you should stay in a new country, you shouldn't even fart in public, let alone join a gang, let alone be a member of a gang. I mean, it's seriously, you're supposed to be, you weren't born here, you have no rights here, nothing. So you got to prove to this country or to its court system that you're an asset. Or at
Yeah.
least not I mean, our bar is very low here. Seriously, it's very low. You not be a criminal, not be a negative, not be a detriment to our country. If you can at least
Right.
do that, you're probably going to stay.
Mhm.
A friend of mine, or an employee of mine, who you ex employee, this is in the last business I worked at. Her mother got married to a Swede, moved to Sweden. She went and visited her there. She loved it. She just loves it there. She wanted to become a Swedish citizen. They turned her down. Here's someone with no criminal record, no problems, nothing negative. You know why I didn't want her? Because she didn't bring anything to the table. And she said that. She said, I don't have money. I don't have any skills that they necessarily want. They just didn't want me.
Mm.
And she's a perfectly fine human being with no
Right.
criminal record. That it takes more than that to get into other countries.
Mm.
Why should it be? I mean, we it's not like we're asking these guys to be world class athletes or rocket
Right.
scientists or just a productive member of society. That's all.
Mhm.
It doesn't matter what job you take, as long as it's legal and above board, and you don't hurt other people. You'll end up being a citizen. It's not, this is insane. This guy was here frickin' years. Guy was
Yeah.
here for years. That order was against him years ago. The only thing that would have changed it is if they would have put in the paperwork ahead of time. I said, all we need is stay in court. You need due process. That he had due process. He did.
Yeah.
He did more than once.
Yep.
He appealed it, lost that too. Had his due process. The only thing they wanted to process is that stay order because of the danger to his life. He should have been sent to another country. Right, sent to another country with no money, nowhere to go. All he's going to do is hook up with whatever gang MS-13 branch is, because that MS-13 isn't just here in El Salvador. What is it, in like 27 countries around the world? You know,
Mhm.
send him to a different country so he can join a different branch. You know,
Yep.
he's got
Mhm.
contacts in the United States now. It makes him a little more valuable. It's
Mhm.
crazy. But anyway,
Crazy.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I don't feel like
Well,
talking politics.
No, you've said it all. Okay,
Yeah.
so now we can.
It's just
yeah.
simple. Do you feel bad for the guy? I feel
No.
bad that he made. Well, no, but I feel bad in a way because he made stupid choices, lived in a terrible country, and did what he had to do, I guess, in his mind, to survive. But that's like saying the entire country was nothing but criminals, which it wasn't, even at its worst. That's not the case. There were businesses there, there were jobs there was all kinds of things there. Even in our worst cities, there are still middle class, upper middle class, wealthy people. There's always opportunity, and picking the path of least resistance is what this guy did, because
Mhm.
it was a heck of a lot easier to be a crook than it is to
Right.
work and earn your way up from nothing. And it just is. It's a shortcut. I don't care what. It's not easy being a criminal. That people shoot at you. Yeah, okay, that's true. That's because you chose the shortcut way. And that's the trade-off. There's always a trade-off. You want to do well, and you don't have, say, a four-star college education, and like me, I don't even have my degree. So what have I done over the years? Just worked, proved myself. Do a little better the next job, do a little better the next job, do a little better the next job. Am I
Right.
wealthy? No, but we're fine. My bills are paid. I have a home, a lovely wife.
Right.
I got friends, I guess. I got, you know,
Don't sound so enthused, Bill.
you know, but it took a long time, and that's life. It's just the
Yep.
way it is. Pay my bills, keep my nose clean, you know,
Mhm.
and that's it.
Well, you
If
did a
that's
good
not
job.
good enough, then okay, do what you want to do. It's a free country, it's a free world. You want to choose that path, it's there for you. But there's always a trade-off. I trade off my personal life. That's what people. Oh, I want my quality of life. I can't. You can't expect me to come in on a holiday or whatever the heck it is. It's a trade-off. You want to get paid. what are you trading? If you either got unbelievable skills that most people don't have. You could like a rocket scientist or an incredible coder or hacker. Some kind of skill that's not it. If it's just that you're a hardworking, fairly smart person that's honest and decent, well, then that's just the beginning. That's just the foot in the door. That's the bare minimum, believe it or not.
Mm-hmm.
But over time, you work your way up, and you
Mm-hmm.
either do or you don't. Either do or you don't. Sometimes you have to work two jobs your whole life just to keep your family fed. It's life. It's just the way it is. You can live in half the countries around the world and not be able to do that either.
Right.
You know. So I don't know. I had a point. I kind of veered away from it. I'm not sure what it was. It'll come to me.
No, okay.
Yeah.
Well, it just seems like to me, with this dark wokeness about, it kind of tells me we don't want to debate. We are, superior to you, or our ideas, our policies are superior. There's no debate. Screw you.
Well, what do you think dark woke is? What are you talking about? Like that Crockett? What's her face? Uh,
Jasmine Crockett,
They're calling
yeah.
her dark woke because she went from being a very well-spoken, senator to Jenny from the block. You know, and I did, she just totally changed, and I think they're just all trying to copy Trump. They think that we all followed Trump because we like his personality.
Uh-huh.
I couldn't stand the guy at first. I never watched his
Right,
shows.
right. Mm-hmm.
I love him as president, though. I think he's circle, and I think he's doing as he possibly could do it. And then by the
Mm-hmm.
way,
Well,
tariffs have been brought back more than once in this country's history. Not just way back in 1800. Yes, we did. We had so much money we didn't know what to do with it back then. And then
mm-hmm.
1913, because of World War One, they started taxing just the ultra rich, and then of course it all went from there. But
Mm-hmm.
that's not the last time that we used tariffs as a
Yeah, Obama had tariffs on
tool.
tires.
Oh, all through the 40s, the 50s, it's been
Yep.
done before. It's been done to leverage, just never to this scale.
Right.
Never to this scale. And
I
people are coming
believe.
up with phony, baloney, lying numbers too. I just saw somebody post a whole bunch of silly shit, saying how somehow Joe Biden lowered the deficit, which is just an absolute lie. It's
Yeah.
an absolute lie.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no telling how much more damage is going to continue. It didn't lower the deficit. It didn't lower the spending. And by the
Right.
way, I know. And then in the same thing, they talk about Bill Clinton, balanced budget and a thriving economy. Yeah, okay. First of all, you had a Republican House and a Republican Senate that gave him that
Right.
balanced budget. You
Mm.
jackasses. He didn't do that. He didn't
Yep.
do anything. And that's got nothing to do with that's 1 year. That didn't happen
And,
all 4 years of his presidency.
Yeah,
It was
and
1 year, and the
they
deficit
pissed
still
all the
rose.
money away the next year.
Yeah, and the
yep.
deficit still rose even that year. It wasn't enough. But it was amazing that we actually
Mm-hmm.
had a balanced budget. They should possibly
And he
what?
was riding on the Reagan recovery, the Reagan economy. So he had that to go with, and that's
Well, he
why,
took after George Bush Senior,
yeah,
not
well,
Reagan.
because George Bush Sr.
Oh, I
carried
know.
on.
The same thing was saying that these presidents like Reagan and Bush left us in the Great Recessions.
Yeah,
It's all revisionist horseshit history.
yeah.
Seriously, it really is.
No,
Go ahead.
he started, he came into a recession. And then there
George
was
Bush Senior.
another.
As soon as he got into office, we were in a recession. So what do you think? He did that? He just got here.
Mhm.
It's the result of the previous 8 years. Well, it's the result of a lot of things. You can't put everything on one person anyway,
Right.
one president. You
Hmm.
can't. And in this particular case, we could probably put everything on Donald Trump because he's throwing it all in there. So, I
Yeah.
mean, the results, one way or the other,
And
it's pretty easy to track it down.
nobody talks about the recession during Obama because he had two times where the GDP was negative. And if you have two consecutive uh, s- um, periods that are in the red, that's technically a recession. And that happened twice during the Obama administration. Yeah, nobody talks about that.
Thank goodness Cool Cats, Mike. Thank goodness he's paying attention. That's precisely what employment is about. It's an economic exchange of services and product where your product is your service. Right. That's kind of, and it reminded me of the point I was trying to make.
Mhm.
What I have most to give. Besides, I'm a pretty smart guy. I fix a lot of things. I do a lot more than my title. I just,
Mhm.
I hope I don't sound like a douche saying that, but I know I'm a pretty smart guy because I do a lot of things that seemingly nobody else can figure out. Uh, but that doesn't make me smart. It just makes me, I don't know. I don't know what that makes me, a nudge. Anyway, but the thing I have best to offer is my time, and you trade your time. Yes, we want quality of life, but you have to earn it.
Mhm.
It's not handed to you, unfortunately, and people don't get that. That's why I get aggravated. I watch a lot of television shows, right? And they're written by liberals or whatever, where the wife is ignored and she's unhappy because all he does is go to work. Meanwhile, I mean, and I tell you what, 9 times out of 10, this TV show, she's living in a multi-million-dollar home that he's
Yeah.
burning, that she
Yeah.
gets to live in. It's like, great. Let's dump it all and go get an apartment in Bayonne, New Jersey, and we can spend all the what? No, New Jersey's very expensive. Never mind. Let's back that up. Back it up. We'll go. We'll go to bumfuck Arkansas to where the taxes are $400 a year and there's hardly any service. I'm not saying all of Arkansas is like that. Obviously, our beautiful areas of Arkansas that I love. Um, but I mean, there are backwoods countries where it's a heck of a lot cheaper than not just Arkansas, but any state where it's a lot cheaper to live. You can do that. And you can spend all the, and guess what? She'll be super unsatisfied there because she'd look at him like less of a man. He's not providing for his family. So you can't win. So, but that's what you give up. You give up your personal life. Do I work holidays? Absolutely. If you take a job in a business that people go to on holidays,
Yeah.
why do you think you get holidays off?
Yeah. Right.
It doesn't work that way, But anyway,
Right.
yeah.
Mhm.
But thanks, cool guy. You reminded me of what I was trying to say. But
Mhm.
that's what kills me when I'm trying to. I mean, it's different for you got part-time kids working for you that and good kids. I'm not complaining. I've got a lot of bunch. I have a bunch of
That's
good
good.
kids. No, I do mostly like them a lot, and but I don't. I'm trying to teach them, and I'm trying to be good to them too, because a lot of them they become seniors in high school,
Uh-huh.
or they're going to go to college next year, whatever. And that's the year, boy. I mean, you're going to proms, you're going to graduations, you got to let them stretch their legs and live their life a little bit. That's fine because this is not supporting them what they do for me. But you want to teach them to be the right kind of employee because it'll help them in the future. That's all.
Right.
You know,
Mhm.
it will.
Mhm.
But anyway, dark woke is a joke. It'll be gone in a couple months. They won't even be talking
Yeah.
about it.
I hope
It's
so
just the
too.
latest spaghetti to hit the wall. You know,
Right. Right. And and also, the difference between them and Trump, that's Trump's persona. That's
right? He's not
how he
faking it.
is,
Right? He's
you
not
know?
faking it. That's what he is. Right.
And where these other
That
people
it's also
trying to
not. It's also art. Did you vote for him because of because of his personality?
no, no,
No,
no.
neither did I. How about you, Charles?
No.
Yeah, he did. You probably didn't even vote.
I I
I just made
What?
you think you voted for Donald Trump. Watch out, they'll be scratching your car.
I didn't like him when he got into the race in 15. I thought he was brash. I thought he was bombastic, and
Thought it was all a big joke.
yeah, I did. And I thought Ted Cruz was the best candidate, and that's the guy I voted for at the state assembly for the primary. Trump didn't even bother to show up in Colorado, so Cruz won Colorado, and Trump just went on to, you know,
Win pretty much everything.
yeah, that's right,
Yeah.
and so I think what's different this time around is I think Trump learned a lot from his first term, and
You know, yes, what he's doing now, he realized. I mean, he's definitely different now than he was the first time. That's true.
mhm.
But that's not why he got elected.
No, yeah, I agree, but I
No.
think what he's you're not hearing about him on Twitter all the time like you did in the first term where he was making insults and stuff. He's doing that on his own platform, Truth Social, and
He's saying plenty. You know why you're not hearing about it as much? Because I think they've decided that people like it when he does that. So now
uh,
they don't want to reproduce it and look what he said. They don't want to do that because it's just putting him back out there, and people are
yeah,
like,
that's a good point.
oh
That's a
yeah,
good
I
point.
like that. That's funny, and I agree with it. They don't want that out there. So I'm
Hmm.
telling you, it's ridiculous that this guy is doing all that he's doing, and the lack of coverage he's getting for the positive. All we talked about was was the economy and the border for how long? Well,
Yeah,
okay. Well, one of those major problems that 70% or 68% of the country want to handle right away, whatever it is, 76%, whatever the number is, whatever the bullcrap poll says this week, you know yourself, we want a secure country where we don't have to worry that the people moving in down the street might be planning on killing everybody, or blowing or killing somebody. You
right.
don't, a secure border does not mean we're not inviting. My wife's from the Philippines.
Hmm.
She's a naturalized U.S. citizen. There was some serious hoops she had to jump through to do that, especially from across
Right,
the world. She didn't walk across the border in Mexico.
right,
She did it all above board, and she's a proud American, and she loves it here. And a Trump girl, imagine that.
huh.
It pisses her off. This whole thing. It pisses folks like that off that did
Yeah.
things the right way because it had value to them. You
Hmm.
know. And
Hmm.
the shortcut folks are the ones that people like her wanted to get away from. You know.
Right,
So
right.
anyway,
Hmm.
that's just one example. I like
Hmm.
everybody. They want to come here, great. Come here, be a good citizen, be my neighbor. That's all right. Awesome. I'll loan you my lawnmower, whatever. Just stop gaming the system and being so obvious about it on top of it. I wasn't a fan of Tariff Gate. I'm still recovering from the stress of it. I do, however, enjoy Trump trolling the midwits and smooth brain DAs and politicians. Yeah, well, I don't know. I don't want to call it Tariff Gate because you know what? Here's the thing. If it wasn't going to, they're all screaming about it. They're suing them about it. Meanwhile, what, 37 countries have already got,
Oh, more than that.
well, there was 70 some that said they're going to, and 30 something have actually got the plans or already been here. They're
Right.
already started.
Hmm.
If he was being so unreasonable, they would have flocked to China. Vietnam, did you see an article recently?
Oh yeah, they lowered their tariffs to zero, I believe.
Not just that, but they raised tariffs on China.
Oh,
How
interesting.
about, yeah, you didn't
Yeah,
see that article?
no,
Oh,
I did not see
check it
that.
out.
Well,
No, they're
thanks.
jumping on the U.S. bandwagon. Isn't that something?
Wow.
The country that was defended by China against the U.S.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
guess they've seen the error of their ways. And
Hmm.
that's why, by the way, Trump got reelected because the country saw the error of its ways. We
Yeah.
spent 4 years of
Hmm.
just unbelievable price gap, out the window, and
Right.
it just shutting down. Showing good job numbers by increasing the government rolls, 75,000 IRS. I mean, I remember the one month they said, "Oh, the jobs numbers aren't as good as Biden had hoped going into the election. It was only 2%, whatever." Yeah, and three-quarters of it were new government hires.
Hmm.
That's not a good economy.
Yeah.
That's just wrong, you know.
Hmm.
Anyway,
Yep. Yeah, that's true. And
the tariffs, it'll be worked out. It'll be record time. They'll be talking about it for a long time. Some to one side saying, he screwed up the world. The other one will be the other side to the world came to us and we worked it all out. I mean, that
mhm.
I tell you, we work out these tariff deals. with all these countries, it could. Don't you think that that would help strengthen the ties between our countries?
Mm-hmm. That's true. That's true. That's true.
Even if they got to pay a little more for it,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
I was watching a drone show last night where they had Ryan LaTourette on, and he's going on and on. Oh, all the prices of drones are going to go sky high, and I typed in, no, not really. It'll go up some. The tariffs are based on the production of the
I saw
goods,
you put
not
this.
on
It's
the retail.
declared value. It's declared
Yeah,
value, and if they have any brain, their declared value will be the manufacturing cost. You don't have to
yeah.
include the profit. You don't have to include the profit in that when you do that.
Mm-hmm.
They're tariffing an actual product, and I think it depends on the it depends on what the item is as well.
Mm-hmm.
And people don't even know. They don't even know, and they don't want to know. They think nobody has a. Japan, and I didn't know this till recently. I thought it was less than this. 700% tariff on our rice into their country.
Wow.
700,
Wow.
and they're one of our best friends. And
Yep.
I'm being sarcastic. They really are. They support us 100%. They didn't do that to hurt the United States. They did that to protect themselves. But okay, that's fine. Understandable. Definitely understandable. You want to keep your farmers eating,
Mhm.
So because United States or agriculture, we could just bury them. They wouldn't have any. They would have no farm production left behind.
Mm-hmm.
Well, why would you buy it? If it was, twice as much money as is the imported stuff. So I understand, but there's got to be give and take.
Mm-hmm.
There's got to be give and take. It's nuts. He didn't even bring it up to the levels that they're charging us. He never did. What is so crazy about raising a tariff against a country who's got ridiculous tariffs against you?
Mm-hmm.
Well, we have a trade deficit with Canada. I've heard both ways. We have a trade deficit with Canada, by the
Mm-hmm.
way. And I love you Canadians. But we got to work the debt. And but he's the one that redid NAFTA and came out with his deal and did that, and they doesn't even like that. No, it's time to change it. Times have changed. It's time to make changes. That's
Mm-hmm.
all. And you make a new deal. You know.
That's
I
right.
am altering the deal. Pray I don't alter it any further.
Kneel before I blast his on. I whatever. It doesn't matter. And China will come around too. They all will. They have to. They're going to
Right.
starve. They're going to starve to death. They've been suckling on this teat for a long time.
Mm.
They need it. All they do is that's their economy. They sell things to other countries, cheap,
Yep.
mass production, super mass production, low wages, low quality of life there,
Yep.
and everybody they're so worried about the world and the people of the world and how they're treated. Don't mind spending $5 on a transistor radio because they can get it cheap from China because their 12-year-old isn't making enough money. I mean, it's just don't get me wrong. Again, just like any other country, they've got more well-to-do areas that are doing just fine, but they have more than their fair share of low income or next to no income workers in that country, which is one of the reasons that their economy has grown so quickly. And the problem they're having now is as they become part of the world economy and their people are becoming more educated to it and what the world is really like or supposed to be like, now they're having trouble controlling the people. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? They're not willing to continue to live in hovels and work 16-hour days for that, anymore. It's coming to a head, and they're going to have to work it out. You know,
Yeah.
yes, I like cheaper products. They can produce cheaper and it's quality, sure, that's okay, but
Mm-hmm.
don't tell me you care about people and you want them to emigrate here and we're all part of the world and we want these people living good lives and la la la. Well, you really don't give a shit when it comes to money, do you? Because you just want your cheap products.
Mm-hmm.
And the hell with what it takes to get them here.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I don't want to be a hypocrite. Got all kinds of that stuff here, all over the place.
Yeah.
I do, but I
Same here.
understand where it comes from.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
do. People joke about it. It's all a big joke. Kids working in sneaker factories and stuff. but that's
Hmm.
it's not really it's not funny. I mean, seriously, when it comes down to it, it's not funny.
Hmm.
You know, terrible joke that is. Uh,
So our next topic, and this has been brought up on several of the news shows I've heard around on the YouTube and the internet and stuff about how the Democrats are always comparing Trump to Hitler, and now it's getting to a point where they've lowered the seriousness of what that man Hitler did to a point where people are starting to think, well, yeah, Hitler's just somebody they didn't agree with. It's like not knowing that, hey, he killed all these millions of Jews. And to compare our president to that, it just mind boggling. It's ludicrous. And it's,
it is over the top. That's why some of them prefer just calling him a fascist. And
yeah,
you know, and
well, even a fascist is over the top. It's
fascism.
not like
If
he's
you live in
taking
a fascist
away
country,
your
the,
rights to
the
anything.
government's involved in all your businesses. There's no any business the government can walk in and dictate how you do business. Fascism completely controls everything,
Right.
everything. You know,
Hmm.
and he's shown no signs of doing any of that. He's shown signs of carrot and stick. Bring your
Hmm.
manufacturing here, and you're not going to pay ridiculous tariffs. I mean,
Right.
what is wrong with that? I
Right.
don't get what is so. What is wrong with that? Why is
Right.
everybody going berserk? Oh, you know what cars are going to go? Well, then buy an American car. Oh, they're going to go up too because some of the materials are going to high. They might be. They might have to. They might.
Hmm. Hmm.
You know, it's all gonna. It's all gonna play out, and it'll all even out.
And
If they
also,
can get the tariffs straightened out, you might be able to buy a cheap Chinese car in a couple of years. Then
yeah,
what are you going to say? You going to thank Trump for that?
right. Also, you gotta think about the laws, supply and demand. We start making things here, and the supply goes up. What happens? Oh, the prices come down, and until demand keeps up with it, then it's people keep thinking that, oh, if we make it here, it's going to be expensive. It will be for a while until the supply gets up there to where it'll start driving
You
down
know,
the price and the cost.
China's a funny thing, and don't get me wrong, love the Chinese people themselves.
Yeah.
I don't think I've
Mm.
ever met one that I thought was an asshole. All
Yeah.
my life, I've either really liked them or at least they're okay. You know, and but
Mhm.
they're just human beings like anybody else.
Right.
And actually, their culture is very polite. Matter of fact. And it's
Right.
very interesting and storied and incredibly ancient. And it's all nothing against the Chinese people. It's just this government that's in charge right now. And we created this monster.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did. World War II.
Yep.
They were an ally, so we were helping defend them from Japan. But the armies, the insurgent army that was doing the best, ended up taking over
Yep.
and defeated Chiang Kai-shek was Mao Zedong.
Mao Zedong. Yep. Hmm.
Anyway, that's what happened. And then, left to their own devices, they were starving their people to death, and their economy was unbelievably bad, and they were struggling and broke and poor
Hmm.
for decades, until one Richard Nixon opened just opened the pathway to doing business with a communist country, and now they're half-ass capitalists, and they never admit that.
Right. Hmm.
They're really it's I don't know if it's communism anymore. If I mean areas parts of the country run like that, and parts of the country is fascism. You know,
Hmm.
you know.
Right.
But
That's
but we did that. We bought their incredibly cheap goods because their people were incredibly poor, and at first it was nothing but junk. But of course they got a lot better at it, and we just
They
as
stole our
consumers,
IP.
we're like, "Ooh, look at that! Ooh, look at that pot! Look at that bowl! Look at that! Ooh, electronics now, huh? Okay, and just kept buying it and buying it, and we made them what they are
Mm-hmm.
with some help from the other Western countries, you know.
Yep.
So why can't we dictate, since this whole thing was set up right from the beginning, and all the success you've had, besides the blood? Don't get me wrong, they fought, but I mean, since then. Why can't we help, try to work out a better deal and dictate some terms, or at least negotiate some terms, without the
Right.
whole world going berserk? It's just crazy. And they're all the same way. Same thing. Europe. If those countries had to defend themselves totally, if they had to pay for their own actual national defense, which they don't have to, a small percentage of their GDP goes for NATO, and that's all they need. They don't. They
Mm-hmm.
don't need to defend the entire effing world, like we do. And they
Mm-hmm.
don't even have to protect their own country. I mean, they donate towards it. They put some soldiers towards it, but that's not the same thing. It's not even
Mm-hmm.
close. At least
Yep.
Italy appreciates us. We're already making deals with Italy. How about that? There's a
Mm-hmm.
country that just about became communist 20 years ago, 10 years
Yep.
ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. She's singing Trump's praises, that one there. It. There'll be more.
Yeah.
There'll be more.
Yeah. Cool Cat makes good point about intellectual
Oh yeah.
property.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's that's the thing about
They copy
communism.
our stuff and sell it back to us for less money.
Yeah.
It's been
Mm-hmm.
happening for years.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Communists, they don't believe in intellectual property. They think, why, that belongs to the people, and the people should profit from that. And that's part of their philosophy. They don't care about intellectual, and that's why uh, communist countries usually lag behind the industrial countries like the United States. We were well ahead of the Soviet Union in electronics, although they did beat us in the space race up to a point until we started
No,
landing on there.
just literally at the very beginning. And
Yeah.
you know, literally.
Yep.
Yeah, they nearly bankrupted themselves doing it too.
Yep. And then Reagan did the smart thing by, we'll do this uh, glasnost detente and stuff like that, and oh wow, the Star Wars, yeah, we'll get them to think we're doing Star Wars here, and then the Soviets got all in a panic and decided, hey, we're going to build all these weapons
What makes you
until we're
think? What makes you think they didn't actually produce anything through Star Wars?
yeah,
What
oh
makes you think that we would
yeah,
even know about it?
yeah,
you know,
hmm
uh, yeah, because what? There's now that we've got Jeff Bezos or whoever going into outer space with
yeah,
pop
and this
with pop
Venus rock,
stars. They're gonna see now. We
yeah,
have to hide it now. We're gonna have to hide the space force or the you know. I, I firmly believe that there are missile silo killing weapons in our military satellites. I honestly believe that. And if they're not, they're just about there, because
hmm
they've already, there's already been witnessing of green beams of light coming from outer space down into the ocean, like tests or something.
hmm
And everybody right off the jumps the gun.
yeah, like
They
Jewish
think it's China.
slavery.
It might be us. That'd be a good narrative. Yeah, it's China. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know.
Ooh,
So I
hey,
don't know.
let's float a balloon across the United States. Yeah, let's do that. How about the stealth aircraft? How did that happen? Oh, yeah, we came up with the technology. We came up with the F-117, and then the B-1 bomber. That was supposed to be our first set. Well, that was our first stab at stealth technology
Our
by
stealth
using,
technology is so far beyond
yeah,
what anybody else has. I don't know if you
hmm
guys even know that. I mean, it's not even close.
yeah,
No, their latest supposed sixth generation is a joke. The J whatever the hell is it?
Yeah.
Shit. Well, it doesn't matter. You hardly ever see them in the wild. I mean, I think there might be six of them that are or less that actually operate without having to be rebuilt every time they land the damn thing. But they say that they're like they compare how stealthy you are as to how large an object you show up on radar.
Right.
You
Mhm.
know, and like our best now, they're they're coming up a couple of inches. I mean, they're nothing. They're not picking them up. They're coming up so small, like a few inches,
Right.
and those things are coming in stealthier than an F-14. You know,
Mhm.
but they're still like a box, like 6 feet wide and 6 feet high. Something very easy to shoot at is what I'm trying to say. Yes,
Right.
stealthier is not good enough. If they can lock on anything, you're
Yeah.
probably fucked. You know. But anyway,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm really off on a different tangent here. All I'm saying is just because they can steal technology or try to doesn't mean they can duplicate it all the time.
Hmm.
You know?
Wow. Right? Doesn't have a computer. Wow. You're such a caveman.
Well, I hate to tell you this, but that cell phone is that's a computer, my friend.
Yeah. It really is.
It is. It's an all-in-one. It's an all-in-one PC.
Yep.
Yep,
Hmm.
100%. I mean, just think, and you've been around long enough, I know, to remember the old PCs and what kind of power they had compared to that thing
Yeah.
that's in your hand right there. You know, my
Right.
original PCs could barely dial out. I mean, I'm exaggerating, but
Hmm.
we had 286s and 380s. Actually, we had 8086s before that. Yeah, yeah.
Hmm. Oh, I like what Mudball says. Isn't the point we don't see them?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe that's what it is. They're just flying over the overheads. They're so good.
Hmm.
No, it's because
Yep.
they hardly have any. We're able to
Mhm.
track them. Their stealth is,
Yeah.
we've already shown. We've, I mean, even Israel has got a lot of that tech and flew how far into Iran and dropped bombs on non-targets intentionally, and then went back as a warning, and
Hmm.
never got fired on by anything. Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty telling little adventure. You could have just killed anybody,
Yep.
anybody you wanted to, just anywhere.
Hmm.
Because they didn't just blow it up in the middle of the desert. They blew up near, intentionally near enough to see it here, military bases and missile sites and what any strategic site. They intentionally dropped it short and didn't kill anybody and just turned around and went back, and it was like, that's a warning. you know we could just enter your country, and they weren't just at the border either. They was pretty far in.
Oh
But anyway,
yeah.
yeah,
They
you
went.
remember all that. That's hysterical.
They pretty much destroyed their defensive capability to a point where uh, they're naked. Because they don't have
You're
the
right.
radar. They took out the radar, and yeah, I
No,
like what.
that's right. That's Lon's right. They have our equipment. I'm
Mhm.
watching this
Yeah.
on my Atari 2600. Yeah. Well, you're pretty technical if you're able to hook a TV Atari 2600 up to the internet and stream. That's pretty.
Mhm.
That's pretty good. Yes, they are used in our equipment, and in some cases, they've actually improved some of our older equipment. I remember that story is that they improved the targeting on the F-16s they got from us 20 years ago, whatever it was.
Right.
Kept them right up in the game.
S-
Just
s-
Mhm.
Sometimes not
yeah.
even
But that
with
was my
anything.
point. That's why I'm sorry. That's why I went over to Israel, because I was talking about. We were talking about China. We were talking about other countries stealing our technology, and then I was talking. We got into the military part of it, and my point is, and Israel using our stuff to such great effect shows you that nobody's touching us. As far
Mhm.
as certain technologies are concerned. I mean, look at it. We got 11 nuclear aircraft. This doesn't all make me all feel safe, by the way, because there are
Mhm.
lunatics that run countries. that just are lunatics. So we understand that there's lunatics in this country. Uh, I'm just I'm just talking about capitalism versus everybody. Everybody succeeds together and pulls together. And Art's point was correct. That's why there's in certain areas we're so much ahead of the rest of the world.
Mm-hmm.
And the other ones that do just as well, like China does fine in medicine, it does well in medicine actually. It
Right.
should.
Yeah.
They've got what at one point, how many billions of people? There's a
No,
lot
one
of
point.
gene pool there to draw from for scientists and doctors,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
just sheer numbers. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm not saying whether they're
Yeah.
more smarter than us or not. There's many more of them than us. So
Mm-hmm.
out of that, you're going to have higher individual
Well,
numbers of skilled and talented people.
they did come up with the coronavirus.
They did. They did.
Mhm.
that was.
With our help too.
Oh
Uh,
yeah. That's how good,
uh,
that's how good they are.
Anthony Fauci. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Got us to pay them to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now
I
we
agree.
know where it came from. We know how it happened, but because he was doing something he wasn't supposed to do. But nobody's talking about that, by the way. Uh,
Right.
that wasn't that type of research. It isn't allowed in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
Gain of function. Gain of function. They don't do that here. But
Mm-hmm.
it's okay if it's in fucking China. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, also
No, the only thing you got to argue is did they do it on purpose or not? You know what I mean? That's the political question. Yes,
right.
mistakes were made. They suck. Their lab sucks. They killed
Mm-hmm.
people with a
Mm-hmm.
brand new flu bug, is what they did. I mean, as
Mm-hmm.
scary as the whole thing still sounds,
It's the enormous
it's a
strength.
flu bug it's alien to us.
Mm-hmm.
We had no defense against it.
Yep.
That's what made it so incredibly infectious.
Yep.
And flus kill people every year.
Mm-hmm.
With some years,
Yeah, especially when
regular
there's
flus, 40 to 60,000 people a year. So it's kind of the same thing, except you had no defense at all against this. I'm sorry, Art, you were saying?
well, whenever there's a new strain of a virus, it's usually pretty virulent, and people build up immunity to it. Plus, we also we guesstimate on what the uh, flu virus is going to attack this year, so we come up with inoculations, and we
I just read what died. I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right. And I agree with you. I'm sorry to laugh. No, to be fair, the Atari 2600 can't stream YouTube in color. He talks about me, of course. Wants to know what color I am tonight. How about that?
oh
Yeah. Well, help me with my color. Is that more natural?
yeah,
Okay, fine.
Solomon.
A light salmon would be perfect. Yeah, with a little béarnaise.
Bernays or hollandaise sauce, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, béarnaise is fancy hollandaise sauce.
Mm-hmm.
And
Let's see.
béarnaise is better on steak, actually. So, I'm sorry. I've been rambling. I was supposed to. You asked me to come in because Lloyd wasn't going to be around, and
Right.
all I've
Yeah.
done is just blah blah blah. And
Mhm.
I told my wife 5 minutes before I came on, I said, I really don't feel like talking about politics tonight. I'm really
Mhm.
tired. I'm tired. I don't feel.
Mm.
This is why.
Yeah.
Once you
Well,
start,
aren't you glad I gave you the link anyway? Yeah.
once you start, I can't stop.
Just in case you want to come in. Here it
Salmon with
is.
salmon with rice, sure. Yep, salmon's
Salmon
good.
with rice, yeah.
Yeah.
Salmon with broccoli, yeah, and
Cook yourself
hollandaise.
up some authentic jasmine rice. Yep.
That's yeah. Mm-hmm.
I like when my wife makes that. It makes the house smell good. Yep.
Cool.
It still tastes like rice to me. I don't know. Rice is
Ooh,
rice.
roasted
Not a big
zucchini.
rice fan. I'll eat it, but that's because it's
Cool
swimming in
cat.
some
Lloyd,
sauce.
Lloyd
Huh?
is fine. His son had neck surgery yesterday, and he was at the hospital all day today. And he came home. He was just wiped out, and he's going to go back to the hospital tomorrow to visit
Well,
his son.
how's his son doing?
He's doing fine. From
Okay.
what I hear, the surgery went well, smooth.
Okay, that's good.
Mhm.
That's
So,
good to hear.
Yeah, so we were talking about the flu bug and how every year there is a new strain, and they
I
have
mean, yeah, but they're all
ways
variants
to
of
predict the
something. This
future.
this thing was totally different.
Yeah, yeah, and it
I don't want to get
was
into the science of it because I don't remember it. We were reading about this a couple of years ago.
right, right, and now whenever I got the corona. Well, just the South Florida drone meetup people caught
You know,
COVID.
and think about that. Think about how many people Ray and Mike came in, close contact with.
Right.
A lot of handshaking, a lot of hugging, a lot of talking this far apart because it's loud and noisy. You
Mm,
know, and really, I think Mike and I think I only know three guys that got it.
yeah,
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 but of all
because
the guys that get it, Captain Ray. I mean, he's in touch with. Oh no, I'm sorry. I think maybe Jay Santiago's wife was the original because I mean
uh,
we're only guessing. I hope she's not sick. I hope she didn't get sick. But Ray, I think, thought she was sick when he drove him from the airport.
right.
So he would be in the car with her. So maybe she's patient zero. I don't know. They did just get off a cruise ship. So this stuff
Mhm,
happens.
mhm.
But thank goodness everybody's fine because that's what's going on
Crying
now.
baby,
That's because it's like a 3 day
alcoholic.
flu now. I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's
Yep. Yeah. It's evolved into just being an
another
ordinary
another flu.
flu. You know. So it's not a real. Some people, it's going to affect them a hell of a lot more because every person's resistance is a little different.
Well, let's just hope it doesn't learn and change and adjust and
Right.
on its own, whatever the word for
Well,
that
it's
is.
already done that.
Yeah, I mean it doesn't continue. I mean it's not killing people in droves like it did at one point.
Right.
You know.
Hey, let's take these old people and put them in nursing homes. Yeah, let's put the sick
Back
in
to
there.
the politics side of it. Way to go, Art. What a
Yeah,
good
let's.
segue. That's right.
Yeah, that's right, Lon. Yep.
But they mutate.
Uh,
That's the word I was looking for.
Another thing that I just noticed is they've done a study about the effectiveness of flu shots, and you know what they found out? It really doesn't do anything.
Who's they?
The scientists have done studies on how
Just some
effective.
scientist.
Well, I mean, I heard
Let's
this
look at it.
on,
I like to know. I'd like to know because if that's true, it's not that I doubt it.
and
They're saying that you're not building any resistance when they give you the dead virus.
well,
I
it
found I
just
get sick sometimes, and I think it's because in the process of my body fighting the dead virus, I come in contact with somebody who's sick, and my immune system is in the process of fighting a fake virus,
right,
which has already
uh,
put a strain on it. I mean, that's what it does. That's why you feel crappy after you get a flu shot
right.
most of the
Mhm.
time. You
Not
know,
me.
you know.
Uh,
But I swear I've been sick like 3 4 times after flu shots, and I don't
right.
get them every year. So that's
Yeah.
one year I got two. The doctor
Oh.
missed it on the girl or whatever the thing was that was in the office. I shouldn't say thing. She was very nice,
Uh,
but I already had my flu shot. I got talked into it by somebody, and I went because it's free at the Walgreens. I went there and got it.
huh.
It's like I'm here to pick up my meds anyway. What's the big deal? You just take a step over here, just like that, right? So anyway, it's in my records. They admitted it later. They go, oh, she didn't see it,
Ah.
and
So,
my memory is like bullshit. And I couldn't remember if it was last October or the October before. It's been 4 months, 5 months. What do you want from me? So
right.
anyway, so I got two flu shots. Didn't maybe that's why COVID. I'm anti. There's the secret to killing COVID:
Right.
overdose on flu shots.
Could be. Could be.
Oh, it's all such horseshit. And I'm glad. I'm lucky. Sometimes I feel not so lucky because of recent things, but the fact that I am obviously very overweight, I'm in my 60s. I have asthma, and I'm stupid enough. At least I don't smoke or vape. So I was primed. Those were the
Mm-hmm.
obese. My sugar's high, a little, a little. I'm what they call
Real hot. Real.
pre-diabetic. They call it. Cholesterol's a little high. I mean, I had all this stuff they were talking about in the news that was telling me that COVID was going to kill me.
Yeah. Oh,
And
I
I never even got sick, and I work at a bowling alley. I came
I
in contact with so many people that got sick. It's not even funny. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
well, for me, I'm disabled, a little tad bit overweight, pre-diabetic.
Tad bit.
Yeah, I'm not way over. I'm not grossly
Hey, I
over.
helped you onto that boat, so just keep telling your stories. So, I
Uh,
might have some experience in what you're talking about, but go ahead.
I have sleep apnea, and I do have compromised respiratory system, and it, I've never had COVID, and I don't know if I'm just lucky or plus. Well, on one hand, I am A positive blood type. Maybe the virus doesn't like A plus blood type. I don't know, but
See,
I
that's
and
that's
I
why that's why we're I'm A negative. Yeah,
oh oh
yeah.
there you
You're
go.
positive.
You got the negativity going on.
Mine's more rare.
Uh,
Mine's more rare than yours, by the way.
but I work in a factory all the time. I work with a lot of people, and some of those,
You come in close contact with them?
uh, I got a couple colleagues
Are
that
you in a
I'm
small
with.
confined area?
Huh?
Are you in
Just,
a small confined area, or is it wide open?
just a couple people that are 6 feet away from me.
No, no,
You
no. I
know.
mean the area itself, the room you're in.
Oh, it's a huge factory.
All right, so that's you're not continually recycling each other's air then.
Right,
Hey,
right,
if you
right.
vape, it's something you learn real quick.
Yeah.
You have no idea how much of your breath is hanging around the effing room around you just 5 minutes after you enter the room. People,
Yeah.
and if you ever want to find out, because vapes will show you, especially if you're a heavy vapor. And the thing is, it's going away faster than your breath actually would because it's heavier.
Mm,
You know what I mean? Eventually, it drops down and it's gone.
mm.
And so, anyway, just kind of a gross thing to think about. I just thought I'd throw that at you. Well, but you're in a wide open area, so you're not
Right,
recirculating each other's air constantly. You're not
right.
you're not whispering in each other's ears unless you're in the break room. I don't know what happened back there, but
Yeah, yeah.
the
Well,
janitor.
I mean, we got several hundred people, and some people come down with the COVID, and rest of us, nope, nope, nobody got the COVID. Just a handful of people got COVID, and rest of us, we don't have COVID. We got the regular common cold, you know, or seasonal allergies, you know.
Well, like
So
Monday night, Thursday night, right? That house, that bowling alley's full. That's 128 bowlers. Those bowlers, a lot of them bring their kids, their wives. There's probably 220 people, 250
mhm.
people in that area, which is not that big, to be honest with you. At least the ceiling's high, you know. But that's for that 2.5 hours. You come in contact with more than that. You had the people before, and granted,
Uh,
not a full house all day, but
mm,
you still come in contact with more people. Beyond those two giant leagues. I got one like that on Thursday, one like that on
mhm.
Monday. But I got Friday where there's three small leagues, and it adds up to almost the same thing. You come in contact with a lot of people. You know, and I just think I'd knock the wood, as my wife would say. I think
Mhm.
I've just been lucky.
Some would,
Just
yeah.
shoot my mouth off. I've just been nothing but lucky. That's all.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
I'm really surprised I never got it.
Uh, the only time I got the flu, and that was like a month before I went on my first trip to the Philippines 8 years ago. I had Really, not only the flu, I had, what did I have? Oh, pneumonia on top of that. Oh boy. So yeah, they had me on the concentrator machine with my CPAP machine. Oh boy.
The concentrator. What does that do?
Uh, it just takes regular air and converts it into pure oxygen, and
Well, they couldn't. You weren't doing. You were doing pure oxygen. I mean, it still had a
I don't
mix.
I don't know
You'll
what
go blind if you stay on pure oxygen. It'll kill you. You know.
but anyway, it was to give me a better O2
Sure.
saturation in my blood. Yeah.
Of course.
So
No, I understand that. I was in the hospital
because
with my
with
asthma for that, and I saw a dip down below 90, and they were starting to get pretty concerned. And it was
right,
because of apartment. I'm cats. People wonder why I don't like cats. I just split. I just went through divorce. I'm going through divorce with my second wife, with a kid involved, and I get this little efficiency apartment in a little town called Kunkel, Pennsylvania. So it's kind of nice. It's off. It's in the country. It really increases my drive, which is idiotic. I should have went south instead. I went north because that's where my friends lived in that area. You know, I already drove 90 some, about 100 miles each way to go to work. So what do? I go there. But still, I'm thinking,
yeah,
well, this is my place. I have my own place now. After all these years, it's just me. Basic stuff. I had a waterbed. You know, I had basic stuff, and it's just a big room, which is your bedroom and your living room, because it's big enough that your couch fit. This is a converted barn.
oh,
Nice sized kitchen for me. I mean, actually, eat in. It was big enough to put a table in, but it wasn't big. You know what I mean? But you could put a table in it
mm,
with chairs, and then the bathroom, and that's it. That's all. That's all I needed. Yeah, I realized the person before me was an absolute fucking pig. No, I with their cats, and I didn't realize it. I am very allergic to cats, and these
no,
people actually vacuumed and allegedly cleaned the place before I went in there.
hmm,
I was in the hospital that night.
oh,
And yeah, it was that bad. And I
wow,
mean, so when they started to douche the place, and here's what I did. When the upstairs became available, I moved upstairs.
oh, there you go.
I got out of that apartment.
Moving on up to
Or did I stay in that one? I forget. I don't know. It was bad though. Just from cats living in that freaking place. But I mean, there
mm-hmm,
was shit on the walls,
mm,
like literal shit.
uh,
Uh, I mean, that's not going to do it. It's the
uh,
dander. You know,
Jill won't even
it's the
see the
carpet.
movie
The
cat.
carpet needed to. You end up vacuum it and steam it and vacuum it and steam it a couple times. You know, and just get it
Mm-hmm.
all out, clean everything right.
Cat scratch fever. Dun, dun, dun.
But you know what it was? It was $300 a month, and it included my electricity.
Well,
Wow.
Yeah. Well, it was a long time ago too.
long
Lest
time
we
ago.
lest we forget.
Mm.
This was before I met Joy, and we've been together like 26 years. So
Ooh, wonderful.
it's like maybe 27 years ago. Right about then. That's when this was. Yeah.
Well, guys, we've covered a little over an hour, and I want to thank everybody in the chat for coming on. Always good to see you. Give a little bit of a libertarian perspective. Always good to have you, especially Don, with your whimsical, somewhat snarky comments. Thank you very much. And yeah, wash my anus. Yeah, everybody ought
Well,
to.
you know, I'm listening to this and I'm thinking that's not even embarrassing to me because that is a side benefit to swimming in public pools, as you will end up with a much cleaner anus.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I mean, you don't necessarily go there for that reason, but it is a benefit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
You have to be careful about how much you do it.
be bleaching them bitches.
Uh-huh. Everybody have a good
You
night.
laugh, but there was a porn star who really screwed up her health by becoming addicted to anal bleaching.
Wow.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't think public pools raised to that level. You know, there's other things in the water you got to be concerned about.
Yeah. Don't forget my drone show tomorrow night where you'll see this guy and hopefully Lloyd, hope you're son has a speedy
Yeah,
recovery.
Lloyd.
Take care. Good night, everybody.